What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Ethereum today. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And let's get into it. All right, here we are at about $2,176. This week we have found support right at 2,000. From a low to a high here, we have broken below the 382, interacted with this 0.5 area, but we haven't quite reached there yet. That's okay. Finding support potentially at prior areas of resistance, prior areas of support, and then prior areas of closing resistance back here. Right at 2K, that's a nice psychological level of support. It doesn't have to hold, but even if we do go lower, I would be under the assumption that we're pretty damn near the bottom of this move, because if we look at this trend line here that nobody probably cares about, this diagonal line here, we've broken through it. And oftentimes it's once we break through a line like this, once we've quote unquote broken structure, which I don't think that we've broken structure. We've just broken this structure of a line that, again, probably nobody cares about, except for the novices or people who don't know how to do anything more in technical analysis other than draw lines. Likely we will probably find support sometime soon. It's in moments like this. It's not when you hold the line that it's time to rip, oftentimes, and maybe the first couple of times it is, but whenever you start to hug it like this, it's not here that you rip, it's once you find support below it, right? Because a lot of people might interpret this as, oh no, you broke through, this was your uptrend, now you're clearly in a downtrend. No, now not so clearly, actually, because even though, yes, you have a lower low here, you did not have a lower high. You don't have a lower high yet, at least, and overall you are still in a higher low position on the macro. So I'm not worried about this at all. Looking at the weekly RSI, you are getting pretty damn near your oversold areas. Perhaps you go a little bit lower, but this is the lowest that you've been in your oversold zone this whole bull cycle, you guys. The lowest that you've been. So you're likely going to find support at some point, right? You're likely going to find support here, if not this week, next week, the week after. It's soon. It's going to happen soon. Where's it going to be? I don't know. If you were to go lower, 2K is a nice psychological area of support, but even if you went below that, I suppose you could go down to maybe you go down to like 1,900, just below $1,900 there, or perhaps you go down to these lows. It's possible. You could go down all the way down to about 1,730. I'm sure a lot of people are chomping at the bit, right? Ready to buy Ethereum if it goes down there. So even if it does happen, it's not a panic sell opportunity. I think that it's a panic buy opportunity, right? At least that's what the smart money's going to do. If it goes down there, they're probably buying some now, even DCAing in. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but I would not count on lower prices to happen, man. Again, being at the most oversold we've been on a weekly basis, being super fearful on the fear and greed index, you guys. Whenever all these bullish narratives are coming into play, it doesn't make sense to me. So I as quote unquote logical as it might be in my normal analysis to consider that we would go lower, if we were to go lower, it would be barely. It would be an insignificant amount. At the most, maybe like 15%, 20%, something like that, but I don't even think that that's going to happen. And most likely we probably already have found our low, but if we do go lower, we're almost there. We look at the daily time frame here, we look at the RSI on the daily time frame, and we are in a very firm downtrend, lower lows, lower highs, the whole shebang. We've hit the oversold zone a couple times. Oftentimes, it's moments like this you have found support and you're looking to break out of your downtrend. So you haven't yet. It's possible that you could come down. I think that you could come down, bounce off your oversold zone, get a higher low here, and then promote a lower low in the daily price. Lower low does not mean that you have to go below this wick. It just means you have to close below these low points, promote some bullish divergence in that sense. But if you do go lower, again, you have the 0.5 here at about 1,900. I suppose that's even more possible, because you could, if you break through $2,000 and you're at 1,900, people who think they know what they're doing, they might be like, oh, it broke 2K. That was a very important level. Now we're going to zero. And then the smart money steps in. It's like, no. That's just what we wanted you to think. Now you're selling to us, and we're going to make this thing rip to the upside. At least that's my perspective. I don't know. If we do go lower, I can't imagine it's that much lower. But it's very possible. We could be finding support here, moving up higher too. If we look at this from a relative low here, maybe this low would be appropriate, actually, to this high. $1,800. Hey, man, it could happen. I will say, with this 886 you've broken through, normally, whenever you do this, whenever you break through the 886 and then you come up and then you come back down, like this kind of scenario, you should have been here already, in my opinion. So the fact that you haven't and you were oversold, like, that might mean that you don't go. But to be fair, that is the most logical area, would be about $1,800. But Ethereum's far from logical right now. Maybe you find support at 1900. Maybe that's it. You don't go lower. I don't know. Time will tell. I'm saying this not because I expect it to happen, just because I'm aware of the possibilities, and I want other people to be aware too. Okay. When it does come time to make some new all-time highs, which will be soon enough, I would assume after we're done dropping here, probably in the next week or two at the most, sometime this month in March for sure, at a high to a low, I would assume that our first stopping point would be $7,700. The ultimate stopping point by the end of the cycle could be anywhere from $14,000 to potentially $27,000 for Ethereum. That's my expectations by the end of the cycle. It depends. I don't think that it's proper to gauge exactly where in this box we're going to be until we know how this move has performed, right? If by the end of April, if sometime in May, early May, middle May, whatever it is, if by then we're up at $10,000, maybe it's a good consideration that we could move up to 22K or higher, okay? If by the end of this move, if by the end of May we're at $7,700 and we're pulling back here, maybe then 14K would be a more likely scenario, something like that. And who knows? Even then, you could still rip all the way up. You never know. Ethereum can move up in a very, very quick and fast amount of time, right? Quick and fast, short and fast amount of time. Low to high here. I mean, you just basically moved up in a straight line this whole way through. Ethereum hasn't really kicked off its bull cycle, and this is what's making me think we're going to have one of two outcomes, you guys, with this bull cycle. It's either going to be a very, unfortunately, disappointing bull cycle that's lackluster compared to what a lot of people expected, which could happen, but with all these bullish narratives going on, man, it just doesn't make sense to me. Or maybe the timing is going to be a little bit different this time around. Maybe it does extend into 2026. It's possible. I don't know if that's what's going to happen. I'm not calling for that yet, but I'm just saying for a long time, for years now, I've been expecting this bull cycle to end at the end of 2025. And I would think that once Ethereum gets going, last time, whenever we got going from our low here to this first high, that was 14 months that we moved up. And I'm not saying that we'll move up for 14 months now, but even if we moved up half that time, 7 months would put us in October of this year. Let alone if we see anything longer, let alone if we don't find our low until April, right? That just gets extended out. So I would think, maybe not 14 months, but something that's at least half that long is what we have to go. So if we don't get moving here soon, then it is possible that this could extend into 2026, but that's not always the best way to think about it, right? Sometimes you just got to wave the white flag and accept defeat, but I don't think that we're at that point yet, right? I do think the bull market is still continuing. My point that I'm trying to make here is that when Ethereum gets going finally, I don't think it's going to only move for 4 months, 3 months, right? 5 months. Like the lowest I could see is half this time frame. And even then, that seems a bit unlikely. So something toward the end of the year is definitely what I would expect. Maybe it's October, maybe it's November, December, maybe it's at the very beginning of 2026. I don't know, but we do have a lot of bull market left to go. Time will tell how high it takes us. I want to see how high we are by the end of this move before we actually really lean on what that price might be. I am suspecting it'll be something between about 14 to 30K, likely above $20,000. But again, it's inappropriate, I think, until we have this next move resolved. It's inappropriate to really consider what we're dealing with yet, right? Because as of now, we're dealing with a very sick market, a very lackluster Ethereum, and for all we know. For all we know, we might not hit any of those targets. We might stop somewhere lower, and maybe we only hit 10K by the end of the cycle. But I do believe that the cycle's not over. I do believe Ethereum will see new all-time highs. That much I do believe. I don't think that it's a good time to sell. I don't think it's a good time to panic sell. Fear is at some very, very all-time high, or not all-time high, but very high areas of fear for the cycle. We are at some of the lowest readings in this bull cycle on the monthly RSI, on the weekly RSI. It's just a matter of time, you guys. A very short matter of time. Within the next 2 weeks, we'll likely find support, and then we'll all be singing Kumbaya and celebrating as the price recovers and moves up higher. I got nothing else for you. If you liked the video, hit the like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.